This is what I do. I train people how to fight with ancient arms and armour as authentically as possible. I've always been fascinated by how these weapons were used and the place they have in our history.
Just how effective were they in the heart of battle?
I'm going to put these medieval weapons to the test and discover how they help forge our history on the battlefield. The knight in shining armour is the most enduring and evocative image of the medieval period. His armour is a vibrant reminder of an age when warriors were encased in steel, and the man himself became the weapon. At the height of its evolution, armour reached a peak of artistic achievement, a unique sculptural medium that made the knight look splendid, intimidating, invulnerable. It was a triumph of technological achievement, and its development was inextricably linked to that of other weapons of war. Throughout history, armour and weapons have competed in an arms race. One designed to protect the warrior from attack, the other intent on his destruction. At no time in medieval history was this contest more fierce than on the bloody battlefields of the 100 Years' War. For almost a century, English archers reigned supreme. Their arrow storms decimating the enemy, wiping out wave after wave of French cavalry. The quest was on to make the knight wholly invulnerable. And in 1424, outside the little French town of Verneuil, the English archers got a terrible shock. Here, they encountered a cavalry force whose armour was of such quality that it rendered their bows impotent. It was arrow-proof. This was a dramatic moment in the development of plate armour. But plate armour like this hadn't always been around. For almost 2,000 years, warriors had protected themselves with armours made from small iron rings. People often call it chainmail, but in the Middle Ages it was known simply as mail. The word chainmail's misleading anyway. Look, this is a chain, just single links, that's what a chain is. Whereas mail is much more sophisticated than that. We get our word mail from the Latin word milum, and what it is an extremely complex web of interlinked metal rings, each locked with an iron rivet. The Bayeux tapestry shows mail as the universal armour for warriors on both sides. Mail was particularly effective at protecting the knight against glancing blows. In a battlefield situation, the man you're fighting is going to be a moving target, so that he's moving away as you strike him. So you're only managing to get a glancing blow off the mail, and in those circumstances, the mail is perfectly adequate protection.
In order to defeat Mail, the attacker had to deliver an extremely heavy blow.
We need to place heavy blows judiciously. We don't want to expend all our energy with every single move that we make. We will tire far too quickly. So, for instance, if I strike at my cello and he moves away, then I've wasted a lot of energy there. I've missed him, I've become vulnerable. I need to make sure that my heavy blows can have effect, so that if he comes at me, then now I can get it, because I disabled him for a moment. This is the blow that counts, and I can crack that down onto his back with full force. Whether the male fails or not is not the central question. Here, putting a full body whack into him there, the shock is going to transmit through to the body, and I'm going to disable his fighting capacity.
Mail was relatively lightweight and flexible, an ideal defense for a mobile knight. But innovations in mounted warfare meant that Mail had to withstand ever more powerful attacks.
Most armies had similar types of armour, their defences effectively balancing each other out. But as weapons and tactics constantly developed, so too armour had to adapt in an arms race that was to change the face of war.
In the 12th century, there was a revolution in military tactics. Cavalry were equipped with weapons capable of punching through mail.
From the 12th century, the mounted knight became a force to be reckoned with. His weapon of first attack was the lance, capable of delivering tremendous impact. Against it, the mail of the early medieval period stood little chance. In order for the soldier to survive, armour simply had to evolve.
Armourers had lost ground in the medieval arms race, but not for long. A technological breakthrough would eventually shift the balance of power. There is a popular image of the medieval knight in shining armour. But most medieval armours we see today are actually from the twilight of the period, the late 15th century. Early medieval armour is exceptionally rare and quite different to this. And without the surviving examples, we have to search for hidden clues. Manuscripts hint at new armour developments, but they don't tell us enough on their own. Fortunately, our medieval forebears also left us an astonishingly accurate image of their world, carved in stone.
One of the most important pieces of evidence that we have for the development of early armour after the age of mail is this chap here. He dates from about 1230 and he lies in Pershaw Abbey in Worcestershire. Now, as you can see, he is largely covered with mail. But here's the important clue. If you look here, under his cloth surcoat and over his mail, we can see at the side these straps. And they indicate that he's wearing a solid body defence.
The details on this tomb effigy suggest that the knight is wearing what was called a coat of plates.
Now, no coat of plates has ever been found archaeologically in England, although some have been found in Scandinavia, so we've got an idea what they may have looked like. And they looked something like this. They're covered with
a fabric covering which anchors the plates together. And it's an assembly of 6 plates giving maximum protection against the new impact warfare.
But just how effective would this defence have been when faced by a lance, driven home at full speed? At the Royal Military College of Science in Shrivenham, researchers use the latest equipment to replicate and record the effect of weapons against armour. I'm going to test our coat of plates against a high-velocity lance strike, equivalent to a knight charging on horseback. The armour is backed by a layer of mail and a padded cotton coat, known as an acketon, which gives additional protection and shock absorption. The coat of plates has survived remarkably well. Only the highest velocity strikes have penetrated the steel.
But all of those penetrations are non-life threatening. Underneath here is the mail that hasn't been damaged at all. Underneath there is the acketon. So impact is being delivered, but this armour is proof against it.
The armoured knight had regained the initiative in the arms race. And over the next 100 years, he would be armed with increasingly sophisticated defences,